If college football week 0 was anything to go by, we're going to be in for one heck of a football season in both college and in the NFL. But until then, let's talk about some breakout candidates for the NFC. What's going on, guys? Stay Support here, back to another video, and today we are talking about breakout candidates for the NFC. And this was a tough video to make. I'll be honest, because I had a tough time with some of these teams. Let's just start with the Dallas Cowboys. Alright, for Dallas, I'm going with wide receiver Jalen Tolbert. And the reason I'm going to go with him is because we know CeeDee Lamb just got the contract extension, and Brandon Cooks is going to be the number 2 receiver, but who's going to be their number 3? It's probably Tolbert to start the season. And could he take the number 2 job from Brandon Cooks if he performs well? He possibly could. Tolbert is a talented guy, so we'll see what happens there. But also, I really did not have anybody else that I could pick. It literally was Tolbert or nobody. Got a rookie right. First rookie from this conference is going to be Malik Nabers. Yeah, I know I went on the tangent last time about not going with Keon Coleman for the Bills, but for Malik Nabers, he's going to get the ball a lot this season. They want him to be the number 1 guy right away. He's either going to succeed or he's going to fail, and I'm banking on him succeeding. There were people that thought that he was better than Marvin Harrison Jr. More on him later. So I gotta go with Malik Nabers. I think he's going to be a playmaker for the Giants right away. I can't wait to see what he does. In Philadelphia, there were a lot of good choices, but in the end, I went with Jalen Carter. In last year's draft, there was talk that Jalen Carter could be the number 1 overall pick. Now, while that didn't happen, partly because of issues with him, he still was picked 9th overall, and he had a very good rookie season. This year, I think he breaks out and helps the Eagles rebound from what was a terrible finish to their season last year. Yeah, I think Jalen Carter is going to be a really good one this year. For the Bears, this was just way too easy. No, not Caleb Williams and not Rome Odunze. I picked Darnell Wright. Darnell Wright, he was taken in the first round last year, had a decent rookie season, but the other reason I took him is because for the Bears to succeed on offense, that offensive line's got to improve, and it's going to start with Wright. He's going to be expected to be the best offensive lineman on this team. I think that's going to happen. I think he's going to have a really good season, really lock down that tackle position. Just a heads up, I got back-to-back receivers with the Lions and Packers. For the Lions, Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams, he was recovering from a torn ACL his rookie season, didn't play a whole lot, and then last year he got suspended for the first 6 games, so he really hasn't had a chance to show what he can do. I think that happens this year, and he becomes the number 2 receiver that they need across from St. Brown. And for the Packers, it's Romeo Doubs. For the Packers, last year they never really had a true number 1 receiver. They were guys that would just step up every month. Doubs was one of them. And really for Doubs, he's just gotten better in his short time in the NFL. I think he takes that number 1 receiver role towards season's end, and we see what this Packers offense can really do. And that's saying something because that Packers offense already looks very good. Vikings, that was one of my tougher teams because this is a team that just has a lot of veterans that have already broken out. But one guy stuck out to me, it was Ivan Pace Jr. They lost Jordan Hicks in free agency, so Ivan Pace is going to be the guy to replace him. Hopefully he does well, but I got him as the breakout candidate. Like I said, there's really nobody left, but Ivan Pace, he's not a bad pick. So the Falcons finally addressed their edge rusher position, and all it took for them was giving up a 3rd round pick. Although they could have done it when they had the 8th overall pick, they could have just gotten Turner or Latu. Wait a minute, I'm sorry, wrong video. But I am going to defensive end for this pick. For the Falcons, it's Zach Harrison. Zach Harrison, he's going into his starting role this year. And like I had mentioned, the Falcons, they need help at the edge position. Matt Judon's not going to be able to do it by himself. If somebody else can step up, that'll be huge. And I think the best candidate for that is Harrison. He's a very talented player. I mean, I watched him a lot at Ohio State. Yeah, I think he could shock some people. Okay, this one I definitely am going to have to explain. Bryce Young. Listen, for the Panthers, I'm not going to go with J.C. Horn. I don't think he's going to stay healthy. If he could stay healthy, I would have gone with him. Ike Ekwonu I went with last year. And Jonathan Brooks is recovering from a torn ACL, so I can't go with him. We don't know when he's going to be back on the field. So Young is the de facto breakout candidate. Now, I'm not expecting him to have a Jordan Love type breakout season, but I do expect him to improve, especially after they got Deontay Johnson and they signed a couple guards in free agency. Now, I don't expect a 4,035 touchdown campaign. If we can get 3,400 yards, 22 to 25 touchdowns, 10 or few interceptions, I think that would be a very good season for Young and the Panthers. Look, for the Panthers, just don't be the worst team in the NFL and you're on the right track. And for Young, I think he's going to improve, and I think he's going to have the Panthers think something else in next year's draft. For the Saints, this was about as easy as looking at Brian Breezy's name, and that's all she wrote. Breezy, he was a former #1 overall recruit coming out of high school. They took him in the first round, late in the first round last year, and he didn't start a game, but he had a very solid rookie season. I think he stepped into the starting role this year. I think he does really good things for this defense this year. And Cameron Jordan, he's getting up there in age. And I think Breezy being there is really going to help out Jordan and help out that defense. Buccaneers, I'll admit, the Buccaneers was hard because there's a lot of veterans on the team. But Yaya Diaby is definitely a breakout candidate for them. They took him in the 3rd round last year, and Yaya had a very good rookie season. He had 7.5 sacks. And with Barrett gone and Joe Tryon not living up to first-round status, I think Yaya has double-digit sacks this year and takes over that role as the Buccaneers sack guy. That's what I'm thinking. I told you I was going to talk about him. Marvin Harrison Jr. for the Cardinals. I know, I made this big deal about Coleman and the Bills, and I go with 3 rookie wide receivers as breakout candidates, but let me explain. I had Marvin Harrison Jr. as the top-rated player in the NFL draft. And with the Cardinals, they had the worst receiving core in the NFL before they took Marvin Harrison Jr. This was just an easy pick for me. I think he can easily have at least 70 catches, at least 1,000 yards, at least 8 touchdowns by season's end, provided he stays healthy. Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm just so high on this kid, and I cannot wait until the regular season starts and see what he does for this Cardinals offense. I got an interesting one for the Rams. I got Bobby Brown. Now, Aaron Donald has retired, and we know there are going to be guys that are going to have to step up, but you have a Kobe Turner, you have a Byron Young, and the 2 Florida State guys that they took in the first 2 rounds of the draft. With those guys gathering all the attention, that means this 6'4", 325-pound mammoth is going to be one-on-one with either a guard or a center. And I know, Bobby Brown, he's going to be more in the run game than the passing game, but I think he could take a big step this year and really show that he can be one of the better nose tackles in the NFL. He had a solid year last year, and I think he just takes another step. This is definitely somebody I really want to see how he performs. Can't wait to see. Oh, man, San Francisco. When are you finally going to put this Brandon Ayuk thing to bed? Because I want to go with Jawan Jennings. I want to go with Jawan Jennings as their breakout candidate, but I just can't because I don't know if Brandon Ayuk's going to be on the field for them week 1 or not. If I knew, I would have gone Jennings. But I don't, so I got to go Jair Brown. And it's not a bad selection. Jair Brown, he was their first pick in last year's draft. Probably going to be one of their starting safeties this year. But it's just going to make me look like a fool because I'm going to be editing this the day after I record, and probably while I'm editing, that's when we get the news of Brandon Ayuk being traded to the Steelers or the Patriots or whatever team, and now I look like an idiot. I feel like that's just what's going to happen. But again, Brown is not a bad pick. He's going into the starting lineup, and he is a talented player. Really, I was surprised he fell to the 3rd round in last year's draft. I really was. And with Seattle, I'm going to end with another defensive back, Devin Witherspoon. Devin Witherspoon was taken 5th overall in last year's draft, and he had a solid rookie season. And with Tariq Woolen in that secondary already, that secondary is good right now, but if Witherspoon breaks out, that's going to make it even better. I say that happens, and guys, those were my picks for breakout candidates in the NFC. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and as always, I'll see you guys next time.